Hey guys, how are you? I hope everyone says that they're doing good. So I know that y'all are ending the near the end of your school year because I am. And with that, I just wanted to talk today a little bit about something called burnout. You guys might have heard of it before, you might not have, but it's really important to talk about this during coming up on the end of the school year as we're feeling more stressed and more tired. We're going to talk about what burnout is and then also ways to combat burnout. Okay, sound cool? So you can grab a pen and paper if you want. You can write this down and just participate as we go along. So what is burnout? So burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. So this is when, you feel like kind of emotionally drained, like you don't feel super energetic anymore. You feel really physically tired, so your body is just like, all you want to do is like kind of sit and play video games and not do anything super active. And then also mental exhaustion. So it might be harder for you to do your schoolwork or focus on something that your teacher is trying to talk to you about. And so this often occurs when we're feeling this kind of tiredness, this burnout. It occurs when we have like a lot of demands, like we're feeling like we have a lot of things that we have to do. So I know some of you might be taking end of the year tests like EOGs. That's what they called it when I was in school. I'm not sure if they still call it that, but you might be preparing for your end of the year tests. And you might feel like a lot of pressure from that and feel like you have to study. You might have things that you have to do for extracurriculars, like you might have like a dance recital or a big baseball tournament coming up on top of all of this. And then you might have stuff that you have to do at home. So you might be feeling super overwhelmed and just like you don't want to do any of it anymore. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about how we get to this point, and then what we can do to help stop us from getting to this point and what to do when we get to that point. Sound good? Everyone give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Let's keep on going. Okay, so there's going to be 5 stages of burnout. Okay? You can write them down if you want. I'm going to write them up here. So we have 5 stages of burnout. So the first one is called the honeymoon phase. And so honeymoon phase. This is before you start feeling stressed or overwhelmed. This is when you're actually excited about all the things that you have to do. It's kind of like when you get to a new class or a new start of the school year. Sometimes I feel a little bit excited about the work that I get to do, or if I'm starting a new job or a new project, I get really excited and you're like, oh, this is going to be great, especially after coming off of a summer where you might be ready to get a little bit more structure. So like the honeymoon phase is when we're super excited, we're not stressed out about the tasks that we have to do, and it can be really fun, right? And then we go into the second phase, the onset of stress. So onset is just kind of a word to talk about like the beginning of stress or the beginning of something, or when something first starts. So this is when stress kind of slowly starts to creep in, So this is where you realize that some of the days are beginning to get more difficult than the other ones. Like you might not want to do what you're supposed to do today, but you might still feel super motivated on the other days. And it might begin to be like the tasks aren't as fun as they used to be. Or you might be having new tasks getting added onto your plate, which might make you start to feel a little bit more stressed out, but it's still super manageable. The third one is when you are stressed. Okay, and so stressed is when you just feel like that super overwhelming feeling. You feel like you might not be able to get everything done. And sometimes when you're stressed, you feel like you have so much to do that you just don't want to do any of it, and you don't have any of that motivation to do any of it. And so this is a time period where we're almost on the point of burnout. And this can be a really hard time because you have things that you're supposed to do, you just don't feel like you can do them and you feel super overwhelmed. And then lastly, the fourth stage of burnout is burnout. So this is when you've reached the point where you no longer want to do the task that you were excited to do anymore. Like you might have like a baseball tournament and you're preparing for like the end of grade tests, and then you might have some chores to do at home and you just feel super stressed about it all, and you're no longer too excited to say the baseball tournament because it's all of a sudden becomes super stressful. Or you might not want to study anymore even though you really want to get good grades because you just feel so overwhelmed and burnt out. You feel emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausted. And I can tell you, I've been there before. I'm sure you all have been there before. And if you haven't, you probably will. And that's why it's super important to learn about how to prevent burnout. And that's what we're going to talk about in just 1 minute. Okay, so now we're just going to talk about how to prevent burnout. So before we even get to that part, okay? So one is going to be setting boundaries. So this might be something new for you guys. So with my major, I'm a social work major. I'm not going to get into what all that means. But you're working with people a lot and you're having to do a lot of things. And so it's super important, our teachers tell us to set boundaries for ourselves. And that means, okay, I'm only going to do this for this long, or I'm going to stop working after dinner time and I'm going to give myself like an hour to go and play. And this is important for y'all too, because you are super important. You can't give yourself to other people. You can't do things for other people until you take care of yourself. And you can't take care of yourself if you're burnt out, and then so you can't help other people if you're burnt out as well. So setting those boundaries, setting time to be alone, setting time to go outside, getting that vitamin D, that sunlight's great energy for you. Just making sure that you are not overstretching yourself, so that way you can take care of yourself and then you can help other people and do the things they expect of you, right? Second one, set time for things you enjoy. I know the end of the school year can be super stressful and you're getting ready for a big change. You're about to leave your classroom. You got to take these tests. Some of y'all are getting ready to go to middle school. And so you're even more probably stressed out about that because that is a bigger change. But during this time, to help with burnout, just make sure that you're setting times for things that you can enjoy. And a lot of times we gravitate towards going to our phones or watching a movie or something like that. All good things, but there's balance in that. We don't want to be on our phones too much. We don't want to be on our computers too much. We want to make sure that we're getting some constructive time with things that we enjoy, going out and playing a sport, spending some quality time with friends, playing cards with our parents, anything like that. Just finding that balance and setting time for things that you enjoy. These are two very, very great ways to help prevent burnout. But what do we do if we are already feeling burnt out and we're like, okay, that's great, I'll remember that next time, but right now I'm feeling so overwhelmed and so stressed and I don't know what to do. What should you do? You can go to your teacher, you can go to one of your parents, someone that you really trust, and just be like, hey, I'm feeling so overwhelmed right now. I'm feeling really stressed out. I'm feeling like I can't complete these tasks. Will you help me? And your teacher and your parents can help you. A lot of times just sitting down and writing out the things that you have to do can be really helpful for us to just visually see that on a piece of paper and be like, okay, I have time to do this, and now I did this, and then I can move on to this. Talking to your teachers, they have great coping mechanisms. Even sometimes you can go back to some of those previous videos we did, those breathing exercises, just in that moment when we're feeling that stress, just going back and doing some breathing, doing some yoga, talking to someone that we really trust, an adult that we really trust that can help us. Those are all awesome ways to help when we are feeling burnt out. I hope this helped you guys. I hope you took some notes. I hope that you're gearing up and preparing for a wonderful end to really, honestly, stressful year. I know I'm proud of you guys. I know online school was hard for me. I know it was probably hard for you. It's been a confusing and strange year, but I know you guys are going to push through. I'm having a great end of the year, and I'm really excited for you guys to move on. Yeah, I'll see you next time.
Please be sure to like, subscribe and share this video. It helps us reach more people who could use our help.